Rapids. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm your anchor, Josie Sabo.
And I'm your other anchor, Sean Francis. And because you all have been trying to figure out how to watch the Olympics, we are bringing you the top local, national, and world news that you may have missed.
You're welcome, Grand Rapids. This is
NewsFlash. Ooh, in sync. Our top story tonight, the Winter Olympics are officially underway, and the biggest story so far is figure skater Zhu Yi, who fell twice during her routine and wound up taking 5th place for China. Zhu is a 19-year-old American-born Chinese citizen, but she began receiving negative backlash over social media due to this unfortunate mistake, mostly from Chinese citizens who are, quote, ashamed that she was chosen to represent the country. Meanwhile, most Americans are like, shit, I can't even go around the rink like once without falling down, so good for her. Clearly a cultural divide is at play here, with whiffs of the beginning of a scrappy underdog story. Maybe, I don't know, Aquafina or could be willing to tackle this complex role. Ooh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I like that. Maybe as soon as she's done digging out of her own controversy. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Last Thursday, Facebook closed down more than 26%. This knocked out around $240 billion of its market value.
$240 would still be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that.
I don't want to lose that. To put that into context, though, $240 billion is the total value of Disney stocks. It's a small world after all.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not done.
Oh, no, we got more.
And to give this even more context, Mark Zuckerberg, the dead-eyed founder of Facebook, is now in danger of losing his place on the list of the world's 10 richest billionaires. He's now only in 10th place. And what's worse, the last we checked, absolutely no one has set up a GoFundMe page for Zuckerberg. I know. Sad emoji.
And now, to be fair, I know most of us really only check Facebook for the memes now, so Zuck might be pivoting away from the metaverse soon and just become a shit poster. So when we asked Grumpy Cat for a reaction, he gave us this. Yeah. Gingers traditionally don't have souls, so that makes sense. And of course, Bernie Sanders had to weigh in with wealth inequality. Bob Ross is actually doing something to help.
And Zuckerberg himself blamed the loss of new users in part in competition from TikTok.
Interesting. Which Willy Wonka thought was just spot on. Now, to be fair, it might also be that people of all generations are just sick of each other's shit and sick of Facebook's shit and the divisive rhetoric encouraged by the algorithms that were meant to drive up engagement on controversial posts rather than what most people want to use it for, which is to vent about your Aunt Belinda. But now Belinda has a Facebook, so it doesn't work as well anymore.
Yeah.
Belinda.
Maybe it's about time that someone put Mark out of his misery. But don't worry, buddy. Give yourself just 5 more years to try and catch up and catch a nostalgia wave like MySpace tried a while back.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Even my top 8, right? Last week, we talked a lot about Groundhog's Day. Specifically, goddamn Shimmin' and Cootie Sam. I can't even say his name still. Meanwhile, New Jersey's Groundhog, mother effing Milltown Mel, didn't see any kind of shadow. Instead, he just saw a light at the end of his little rodent-shaped tunnel. Yeah, he died a few hours just before the ceremony. I'm not really sure what that forecasts for the next 6 weeks, but it's probably not good.
If you go to Cabo San Lucas on vacation, the U.S. government has a warning for you. Avoid going to the hospital. The U.S. consulate says that the hospitals in Cabo prey on Americans by overcharging us, using scare tactics to coerce money from us, and then refusing to release our personal medical records. So tell me, how is this any different than a random hospital in America?
Yesterday marked the anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's 70th year on the throne. Wow. She should eat more Raisin Bran, probably, don't she? 70 years. That's not good. It's not regular.
NASA announced last week that the International Space Station, which was launched in 1998, will be shutting down operations and returning to Earth via crash landing in the Pacific Ocean at Point Nemo, which, feels a little extreme, but is in custom with other satellites and space vessels. It's just typical for the male-driven government to get rid of something just because it's over 30.
Thinking, right? Yeah. The director of NASA said in a statement that this will mark a transition for low-orbit space travel, as the government agency will be offering assistance to leaders of the private sector to take over, with Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, as well as other companies, Nanorex, Northrop Grumman, which is actually one of the largest weapons and security companies in the country. So I guess we can look forward to privately run space jails?
NASA, of course, will continue its deep space exploratory
Yeah,
missions.
they're exploring shit.
They're exploring Mars and beyond, because no matter how much money you have, the government won't let you get too high. Sorry, Elon.
And actually, after the announcement, Elon called Jeff Bezos, and he only said, "I call dibs on Han Solo." So, to which Jeff rolled his eyes and said, "Whatever you say, Elon." But he was secretly excited because that means that he gets to be Luke. So, what a couple of nerds, am I right? Nerds who own everything. Jeff is now essentially going to be the space-age Marco Polo, so get ready for our pool parties to get a lot less fun.
But this does feel like the end of an era. I mean, by essentially defunding the ISS, does that mean international space agreements are over? Is this the beginning of an even colder war?
Ooh.
An International Space Station, Nemo finds you?
Whoa. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the government is pulling out of the space rate. This is now when the aliens decide to swoop in and hit us with a bunch of heavy fines and cease and desist because these companies didn't apply for the proper permits. Typical aliens.
The oldest pub in the UK is officially shutting down, reportedly due to the pandemic. Dating back to 793 AD, the owner of Ye Olde Fighting Cocks said that the past 2 years were just too hard. Tough break to anybody looking for good old Baners and mash. Others speculate
It's just a sausage and potatoes, guys.
Others speculate it's also pretty cold in the UK right now, so that could be part of the shrinkage. Hopefully, as more people get a booster from Pfizer, it could come back ready to fight again, and they may reopen soon under new management. Maybe it might be time for a kinder, less aggressive, and phallic rebrand, such as the Purring Pussy Pub. Maybe the Tipsy Trollop. Even the Caring Cunt. My favorite, the Amiable Arse, would have to use the back door.
Meanwhile, here in Michigan, the St. Joseph Winter Festival has been postponed until later this month because of too much winter. Meanwhile, your job is being postponed because there's too much work. The Sundance Film Festival is being held online because of too much drama, and Spotify is being canceled because of Joe Rogan and racism and other things. And cancel culture, which I guess never really existed in the first place, is now canceled due to too many cancellations.
Oh wait, in breaking news, this just in. This Valentine's Day 5K fun run is being canceled because running 5K in sub-zero temperatures is no fun at all. While this week's Irony Festival, the Comedy Project, definitely is being canceled because there is way too much irony in the world right now.
Yeah. Amen. A man in Macomb County was found hoarding over 800 parakeets in his home, and now desperately needs people to adopt the birds as they get spread across shelters throughout Michigan. You can learn more about it in the new show, Bird Hoarders, Oops, All Cat Skeletons. To be fair, that's another page. Now there's absolutely nothing that suggests that this was a weird sex thing, but there's also no way to disprove that it was a weird sex thing. So, what do you do? Yeah, we're still on the bird thing.
All right, we're Battle Creek Rescue have to vacuum 7 or 8 times a day to keep the space clean. Now, if people supported print media, maybe they would have had their proper supplies. Rescuers are asking people to come adopt the birds before they're turned over to your local KFC.
Yeah, I'll take a pair of thighs and a pair of Keats. The man's son outed himself as a neglectful son to his father by urging people to check in on your loved ones and make sure that they haven't adopted hundreds of birds.
In more animal news, in a story UK citizens are referring to as the squirrel from hell, a wild gray squirrel that injured 18 people during a 48-hour biting spree back in December was captured and put down by authorities. But how did it even come to this? Well, apparently the squirrel was very against Brexit, and this is how it decided to protest. This would never happen in the US thanks to our stand by your ground laws. The only way to stop a bad squirrel is with a good squirrel.
Yes. Now, many of the victims had to get tetanus shots after being bitten, and some of them were a little concerned. I don't know what's in that shot. I'm not getting it. I'm just kidding. They're British, so instead they said, I don't know what's in that shot. I'm not getting it.
I mean, they all have pretty bad teeth anyway. Why don't they just bite back?
Ow! Squirrely bit my finger.
Meanwhile, the guy with all the birds in Macomb County was like, see, this would have never happened if they had more birds protecting the feeder.
Yeah, that's true. You had a point. A planned Russian Navy war game drill off the coast of Ireland was relocated after local fishermen refused to back down from the area. Now, as we all know, in Russian Navy, games drill you, but that's in coastal Ireland, you just stay put and drink no matter what's happening around you. So the only game that's going to be played now is probably Go Fish.
Animal owners in Hong Kong are hiring private planes for their pets. You've heard of NetJet? Well, this is PetJet. But why a pet jet? Well, people want to leave Hong Kong, can't secure flights out for their dogs and cats. So online groups of pet owners are getting together to charter planes filled with pets. I mean, just look at these photos. They're adorable. I can hardly wait for viral videos of drunk pets partying in the aisles.
You know, it's actually probably not as bad as any Delta flight. You know, in fact, I think I heard that they had just repurposed Delta seats as the kennels. So, in fact, I heard that a bunch of Delta attendants applied to be transferred to these flights instead, partially because the passengers are going to be way better behaved.
They plan to serve honey roasted milk bones instead of peanuts. And we'll save money on barf bags because if somebody throws up, they'll just eat it. And it's way more likely for passengers to join the Mile High Club, like for example, a sheepdog in a flight attendant's leg, because the whole cabin is the bathroom. And if it hits turbulence, just release some balls.
Well, that'd be fun. Now, there are a few potential downsides to these flights. Pit bulls are going to be complaining about being profiled by the TSA. It's going to cost extra to check your chew toys. Chew toys. That's a weird one. It's going to prove an issue for potential hijacking by cat burglars. Yeah, these flights are definitely not for the birds. Another bird joke! Did it! Yeah!
And single flyers everywhere are hoping this works out, so they might try the same thing with crying children. But we draw the line at people who want an airline for their potted plants.
Yeah, no. Cut that shit out.